My favorite feeling in the world is when a project that's due at midnight just disappears and my computer shuts down and loses its RAM and most of my work. Actually, that's not true. However, now I can understand why I lose all that work. Google Drive would always save my work right away. Why didn't Microsoft Word do that? There's definitely something to be said for the differences in the programs. However, I didn't know that then and why this is important. Now I understand how things work in the computing world, and I'm able to streamline the way I compute. Clouds are everywhere. Sooner or later, the skies will be overcast. Cloud computing is expanding rapidly and is replacing the standard PC-based drive while operating up to the ability to compute and write code. My main points today will be focused on the cloud and how it connects every single aspect of Block 1, through the computers, the open source, all the way to the Internet of Things. A single computer with a hard drive can communicate with an object collecting data or running software program created on open source, all while saving saving everything to a cloud, making that data available for everyone it's shared with. My main talking point again is to expand the idea of how the cloud connects so much more than the personal lives. Clouds are slowly starting to take over everyone's lives, whether it's personal computing all the way to education and even enterprise operations. My neighbor from Colorado, his name's Keith, is very into streamlining his life. He's a smart man and understands how cloud computing can make his life easier, so that his electrical bills, his work, and his personal life don't have to cause anxiety. My neighbor Keith uses iPads to control the lights in his house, the temperature of the rooms, the music in each of the rooms, and turn on the showers. All the data from the network that was created for his house by a company called Nexia. He uses a cloud to hold his music settings, login info for Hulu, Netflix, etc. And he also uses it to collect data. Here's a classic example of how the Internet of Things can lead to streamlining life rather than solely data collection. His system is using data, though, like I said before, to show him trends of which kid leaves the lights on more or which room watches the most television. However, the data is just a small part of it. He keeps his whole life on the cloud. As a software developer, he's been able to use the cloud to pay for things with his credit card, use family photo, upload his family photo album. He's operating businesses and software and creating software through the cloud. As you can see here, these are two pictures of the system he uses on his iPad to control his house. Because he's able to manage these accounts and operate everything, Keith is doing a simple job of streamlining everything while at the same time creating the ability to operate and understand how his world works just by looking at the cloud. But Keith is just a private example. Here's a corporate example. Moving on to Anheuser-Busch of St. Louis. Every year, Anheuser-Busch brews 340 million 31-gallon barrels of beer. That's almost, that's over 2 billion gallons of beer every year. But the beer never deviates from a standard. Using the Internet of Things, they can actually use an infrastructure for service cloud computing and or infrastructure as a service cloud computing system, and AB can actually control all 340 million 31-gallon barrels of that beer to make sure it tastes exactly the same. From St. Louis, they can do this to, and they can change the beer in Fort Collins. Fort Collins can then send back, data reports. And because of the cloud and the Internet of Things, they can basically control the alcohol production completely. Moving on to Embraer, an aircraft company based out of Brazil. Embraer can actually sit in their home base down in Brazil and monitor the engines. So, for example, let's say the pilot gets too high of an EPA rating. Right here, EPA's on the top right side, looking good. He's got an 83.9, 83.9. He's not topping out at 100%. That being said, if he ever did top out at 100%, he would blow his EPA. In Brazil, they'd get that message, and they'd send out an ACAR message telling you that you need to check your EPA, make sure everything's okay, and if not, divert. If the pilot accepts and returns saying they're going to continue the flight, Oracle helps Embraer set up data reports and build a work order for the aircraft at the arriving airport. Oracle and Embraer work closely together to make sure that their aircraft are streamlined. For example, Embraer doesn't own all the aircraft that are out there, so they have to contact airlines like SkyWest or Lufthansa or LOT or City Express to make sure that all of their aircraft are on the correct program, uploading to Oracle's sites, and then Oracle can then continue to process work orders via Embraer. This Internet of Things attachment and how this all works out is actually quite interesting. So that by the time the pilot lands, the Embraer aircraft could be all set up and ready to go for a quick turnaround, and the maintenance request and work order could be complete. What cloud computing can do for you with iCloud, the recent release of iOS 8 and all of that, you can basically upload something immediately to the cloud and have a cloud drive. They've created a cloud drive now so that everything you own can go on the cloud and be accessed immediately from your iPad, iPhone, or MacBook. Cloud technology is skyrocketing. It's going through a drastic increase of growth, and whether you're using open source programs to create code, all the way to monitoring aircraft engines, all the way to brewing beer, or even controlling the temperature of your shower from the couch. It's amazing the things that the cloud can do, or that the Internet of Things can do via the cloud. The cloud connects the PC. It connects the Internet of Things, the data, brings it all up to speed so that everything is shared and is able to be seen. The globalization of this is ridiculous. For example, today, Google Chrome is project. My entire project was done on Google Chrome, Google Drive, and now can be shipped right to my teacher for it to be graded. And the fact that I was able to do it sitting in the library and he can view it on his couch at home, and all it took was a matter of seconds to be uploaded. It's amazing. The amount of interconnectedness really is changing the world and globalizing us so much more.